Hey, so I've been thinking about creating this video for quite a while, and I was trying to figure out what I should say, what I should tell you about where I've been, what I've been up to, and why you haven't heard from me. And I don't know how to start, so I'm just gonna begin by saying, firstly, that for the last couple of months, I've been really struggling with um, finding my way in what it is that I want to do, the things I want to pursue. For the longest time, I've been very clear in what my intentions are, what my dreams for my future are, and lately, since I've been taking like even bigger steps in trying to reach those goals, I realized that I've been dealing with a lot of trauma and anxiety. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to like get in the moment of this video because I feel quite performative if I'm honest. But um, the thing is that for the longest time I've been keeping myself in a mental spot, but also a physical spot where I basically like embraced, like wholeheartedly embraced um, discomfort. I held myself in a position where I felt small and where I kept myself small, where I didn't say what I really felt. I mean, like outside of this, me talking to you to the camera, more in like my social life, more in just the way I deal with myself. And I realized that for the longest time, I dealt with a form of social anxiety where I experienced, for example, like my windows are open right now. Um, uh, there are no curtains, and it's one of those things where even though like there are these um, these stickers that blur things out, partly they partly blur things out. I still feel a strong discomfort with the idea of somebody observing me without me having a control over what they see and how they perceive me. Um, I mean, in a sense, I mean, because to be clear, like I don't have a control of how you perceive me, but I do have a control over what I put out, and I get to decide if I want to prepare beforehand, if I want to edit it a certain way. But the outside world is a space where I can't edit myself. I'm totally unedited, and um, that alone is something that I struggled with for years. I'm talking about like riding a bicycle. I've never like really grew up with riding a bike, even though I live in Amsterdam. Um, I still most of the time would just walk or take public transport, and so um, it would be very rare for me to be in a position where I would need a bike. So riding a bicycle in a traffic situation just wasn't a normal general occurrence for me. So I didn't like develop the habits of like your average biker, especially like here in Amsterdam, but just in the Netherlands in general, where it's a very bike centric and very bike heavy culture. which I do. I must say I really love it, but that's like a whole other um, tangent that I won't go on. I love bikes, but the thing is that um, the whole process of making mistakes in public, um, trying things out, falling down, just being wrong, something I really struggle with, and I've been struggling with it for as long as I can remember, and that inhibits me from moving forward. As you may notice on my channel, when it comes to me singing, um, that I feel like my walls are paper thin. Everybody can hear me. There's not a true privacy. There's not a true um, space that I can feel fully wholly as myself. Um, and it has to do with that social anxiety. And then also, because I said trauma, just experiences from my past, growing up as a little kid, um, where just without going too much into detail, because I'm currently taking therapy. Um, so that is also why I, like, for the past month, I started going to a psychologist and really seriously deal with it, because it reached a peak for me. But since I was a little kid, I never really felt safe and never really felt comfortable, and I started to move in a way that would allow people to walk over me or walk in my space without claiming space for myself. And so that I trained myself to behave that way, so that now, today I turned 30. um, I have to reteach myself, relearn how to be, actually. And like, this whole YouTube journey was like the part of like the first public process of me trying to do that. Um, but I must say, when I started this, the second part of the journey, so it's almost like it's 2 months away from like a year being back on the channel, and I knew that I wanted to train myself in expressing myself and sharing myself again. And I figured that um, it's deeper than just creating a video or two videos or three videos. It's different than just doing stuff. It's different than preparing. It's different than anything else. It's a very deep underlying thing, and through a set of occurrences that happened late 2020, late this year, where I had to apply for welfare. I had to um, confront and also explain my case, my situation to external folks, and really examine like where it is that I'm at and why I haven't moved forward in a sense, or at least move forward in a fast enough pace where I felt like I really was making actual sizable progress. And I think that when when that all happened, and I really like had to share my predicament with others, it was the first time that I allowed myself to take myself and my doubts and my anxiety seriously. It was the first time that I allowed myself some space to actually like see and look at like the dysfunction of how I was living for the longest time. And subconsciously I've been putting myself on hold because I was very afraid, very anxious, very inhibited, and um, I had to try to define what it is. So um, in like late 2020, early 21, so like December, January, I started to make some first moves in getting some initial help and some yeah, outside sources, trying kind of allowing them to tell me like what to do. And I was like, okay, let's do this, let's go, let's make this move. And pretty soon I realized that it wasn't just as simple as me doing something and then all of a sudden I'm okay, all of a sudden I'm moving forward. The opposite actually happened to me, where I was on the verge of having panic attacks, and where I came to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed, and where I was so stuck in my situation where the tiniest things would set me off, would make me feel totally extremely powerless, and where I would shut myself off from everything and everyone. And I remember like the space that I was in was so I'm looking out the window because I see people moving, so it's a distracting thing. So if I look away, like I'm in what I'm saying, it's just my eyes are totally I'm trying to find my light here, so I'm gonna sit here and maybe share with you in a more comfortable space with a nice background. When it comes to this channel, I kind of ran out of steam, and it has to do with that piece of where I couldn't get out of bed, but I already ran out of steam beforehand, and it started to pile on where I felt like I wasn't making any progress, like I said before, and I felt like everything I did, um, that I would get this pushback, like everything was rebelling against me, where no matter what I did, things didn't change, and it created like this perfect situation where I had a hard time making moves on the one hand, but then also the moves that I did make didn't really cause a change or would backfire on me. And this has been my struggle, my narrative for as long as I can remember, especially as like a little kid, where, and this ties into the not feeling safe, who I was, my personality, my interests, my being, my gender expression, sexuality, my the way that I looked in every way, shape, and form. I felt judged, I felt attacked, I felt unsafe. And it reverberated through a lot of the things that I did. So, and you know, the thing is that when you, because to me, this is a normalized thing, it's a normalized pattern and thought process. So instead of asking for help at 5, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 17, 18, 21, 24, 28. Instead of asking for help, I internalized this as something that I had to figure out for myself. It was all in my head. I must say that I also kind of dealt with gaslighting quite a bit. So there was this internal doubtful voice, but then there was also this external piece that kind of fucked with my head. So I didn't ask for help because I thought that it was, like, first of all my fault. It was me who's wrong. I'm the one who's responsible. I need to pick myself up by my bootstraps and all that mess. And I would just internalize this thing of, like, yeah, this is just what it is, and the only way it's gonna change is if I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna change only by doing it by myself. And every time I asked for help, I couldn't really explain what it was that I was struggling with. I couldn't explain what I needed help with. For some reason, it didn't connect. I didn't communicate it well enough, and that was because throughout the whole asking for help, I still felt the guilt and the responsibility, and that I was failing, and failing hard, deep, and just bad, like so. And it also ties into that, making mistakes and allowing myself to make mistakes. I felt like, no, I needed to be perfect every way, every sense, and that has to do with the fact that I feel, I must say, unsafe. So back in January, after a while, I started to apply for jobs, for example, searching for jobs, and then that would backfire as well. And it felt like this endless stream of just shitty things happening, and like I didn't have any control of it, and it was just like a thing of a, but like internally, like I knew, like I didn't believe that that job was out there. Like it felt like it very like I'm a chicken running without a head, and external sources, external forces would say, like, I need to do this, that, and I'm not doing enough, and that it piled up so much where I couldn't get out of bed, and I had to shut down. And for over a month, I couldn't, like, aside from maybe getting some groceries, I would just lay in my bed. I would disregard everything. Every intention that I would set, I couldn't follow through because it was just too much, too heavy. And like in October, I dealt with a partial depression. But even in that depression, I still could, like, function in a way. Whereas starting the second half of January, I shut down completely, and it felt like everyone and everything was rebelling against me. Like I had to perform, but I couldn't perform it because even it didn't matter whether I did a good enough job, not a good enough job, didn't matter because the end results would always be the same. And that was also like the feedback that the universe gave to me. Like it was a very like self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing on the one hand, but also like it felt like the universe was just like, fuck you, like it doesn't matter what you do, like you can suck it basically. And up until the half, like later half of February, where when my friend, she was also struggling with a lot, reached out to me, talking about their experience with their struggles and jobs and all that, and um, they told me like, I really think you should go seek a therapist, like really actually talk to a psychologist and really address this, because she knows me. She knew me ever since high school, so she knows like the way um I fit into the world. And she told me that for me, it would be fruitful to try to find help. And I don't know what it was about the conversation that we had. It was also the part that she was looking for help as well, and thinking about going to a therapist um, for herself as well. So I don't know. It felt like she allowed me to say, feel, and live in that space of like, no, I need help. I can't do it by myself anymore, and I'm allowed to ask for help, and it is not my responsibility to fix every fucking damn thing, because I don't have it in my being at this moment, and that's okay. And I'm not failing by asking for help, and um I'm allowed to ask for help. And that allowance, it kind of removed a piece of the guilt for me. So I called like the um like our government has like a in order to get like welfare, you need to have like a certain amount of things that you need to do regularly, weekly, um, to still be applicable for it. And but even if you like receive it, you still have to go out, find jobs and all that. And I called like the lady at like the job center of my the welfare situation, where she like she wants like updates on what's going on, how we're doing. And so I told her like that I couldn't do anything, like I was stuck in my situation. And um, she allowed me to let that be my truth. And she kind of put a hold on that piece of like, I have to perform or do all these things, and let me just step back for a second and really ask for help. So I through my general health practitioner, I got like a short list of a couple of psychologists, and then I connected with the one I felt most applicable to me. And I I took my intake session after like, because it was like a long waiting list, of course, because of COVID. And I finally felt like I'm allowed. I'm really allowed. I talked to like my family, to friends of mine, where I finally felt like, okay, I can take this space and rest for the first time in my life. Because up until this point, I've been in survival mode ever since I was a little kid, because I never felt safe. I've never felt safe. And I never felt like myself. I always felt like I was performing in one way, shape, or form, and that I couldn't be me. And for the past month, I've been really trying to be myself without putting in any effort. Just trying to let my mind stop thinking. So I already see this is gonna be a very long video. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, and I also don't know like what the purpose of this video is outside of updating you guys. If you're even interested, maybe if you look back years later, but for me, I wanted to create this video on my 30th birthday, and like for me, I reached a point where I feel like I'm allowed to be here. I'm allowed to feel, think, and experience my life as I feel that my life is. And regardless of whomever watches this, regardless of what will or won't come from this, for me it's just like a way to say and to look back, to reflect, to say like I'm here. And this decade, this coming decade, my 30s, I'm not gonna play small anymore. I'm gonna be selfish because I can't do anything else. I'm done with the survival mode bullshit. I'm done with the trying to please everybody bullshit. I'm done with the giving all of myself and getting nothing or the smallest in return bullshit. Like I can't do that anymore. I don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the luxury. I don't have the privilege, the actual fucking privilege to do that as a queer person of color with a disability. Like I'm sorry, the things like if I look at like the politics, if I look at everything going on around me in in societies that we all live in, no matter where you are on this planet, and then also on top of that COVID, which also has to do with like all these added things of just dysfunction upon dysfunction, and just me acting like as if I'm stupid and like I'm I'm gonna fucking say, like I'm a smart guy. I'm an intelligent guy, and this is not me trying to be like, "Ooh, I'm so high and mighty." No, I'm like actually like I've like when I took like tests like growing up as a very like high percentage scoring kid growing up, and even though I didn't went to like college, I was a college level. So like the books that I'm reading are like I don't have a problem like reading academic texts and books and all that. Like that is how I got to like my feminist literature, queer literature, all that. So sociology, all that. But like I don't have that space in my mind to act as if my opinions, my say, my intelligence doesn't matter. And I just don't want to run around like a chicken without a head anymore. For nothing. For absolutely nothing. Look where it got us. Nowhere. Like shit. Like I'm sorry. These 30s for me are gonna be a time where it's all about this person over here, Rufina Enriquez. And yeah, this is a long ass video. God bless you if you watch it till the end. I'm not even like, you know what, get your life, because honestly, whew, I've been feeling playing so small for so fucking long, and I don't have the energy to do it anymore. I don't care about what you say, think, feel, because at the end of the day, I'm allowed to be here and I'm allowed to take and hold space. And that is what I'm gonna do this decade. So get your life all the way together because I'm getting mine, you know? And I don't play no games no more. Like I'm not so so what I wanted to say, what I want to leave you with on that note, um the next time, I don't know when the next time is going to be that you will see me. I don't know when the next time is going to be that you will see me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on whatever platform you're going to invent next. On my own fucking website, okay? Get your life. The next time that you're going to see me, I'm gonna be me, and that's all I can tell you right now. I'm gonna be having fun. I'm gonna keep it cute. Gonna keep it light. Gonna keep it honest. Gonna keep it real. I'm all about that solar punk moment. I'm all about the queer moment. I'm all about all of that, and it's gonna be like Black Lives Matter, honey. That's not even. That's the bare minimum. Okay, it's gonna be Black love. Okay, it's gonna be indigenous love, and I'm not talking about that all life matters moment. I'm talking about like I'm gonna be myself as a person of color with indigenous roots, but mostly black roots, some Asian roots because the Asian race or the Asian hate, like y'all need to really like step it up because this ain't it. This really ain't it. And like I'm done. Like I'm really like the next time you see me, just let me leave it at that. The next time you see me, you will see me. You will. I know when that's gonna be. I'm gonna do it when I feel like I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna live because y'all wanna keep this shit depressive, and I don't. Like, I've been depressed ever since I was a little kid. Like, I'm done. Screw that. For what? So, 30. The dirty 30s. It's gonna be real dirty. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy this. Get your life. Okay, I'll see you when I see you. And, bye.